Hey guys, I am at Barbell. This is Marnie Alton. I call her my guru, like my angel on earth. She's like an actual angel who is on planet Earth for some reason to guide us. And is that too much of a,
it's a lot.
Huge compliment to throw
actually,
out casually? Hey
big.
Guys, here's Marnie. She's just an angel on earth. Don't worry about it. But it's true. It's like I've known you for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And I met Marnie at another studio, and she was a teacher there, and she would have this line like out the door at 8 in the morning on a Saturday. And I was like, this is nuts. Like, what are people doing? And people couldn't get into the class. They'd be waiting to get into her class. And I would say, Marnie, why don't you have your own studio? She's like, I want to be an actress. I came to LA. I was like, do you not see what I see? Because like this is for you. People aren't coming to the studio for the studio. They're coming for you. Like whatever it is that you have, they're here for. And I think it took you some time for that. Like, was that scary? Well, so fast forward to she started her own studio. It's called Barbell. It's on La Brea and First. It's here. It's this beautiful space that she's handpicked like every detail that's here. And she has cultivated a space. It's a real beautiful community for women, and people come to this class, and there's doctors, and we just had a doctor like cancel her patient to come to this class. Don't tell anyone. Doctors, lawyers, like her other student just said she became a PhD candidate, like smart, strong, powerful women, but also like waitresses and restaurant managers and actresses, and you see like celebs in here, and I mean it's like it runs the gamut of people who come here to be in this space together, and everyone is so friendly. And I've made some actual like real friendships with women here. It's like they're not catty or combative. And this is the 5-year birthday of Barbell.
It is.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And today was like a birthday celebration to celebrate the studio and the space. And I was in Iran when you started this space, but there's like photos and videos of like Marnie like by herself painting and sculpting and all this stuff.
And sculpt.
What I'm sculpting. I met like because in Persian you say like sculpt, but it just means like shaping.
Yeah. Okay.
Shaping what this space became. And so this is the fruit of your labor now. Your baby is now 5. And I wish there was like a bouncy house for a 5-year party, like a giraffe theme. Like, I feel like there's no cake. Also, of course, there's no cake. They're like, no.
The workout is the party.
Yeah,
Woo!
You can't. No cake in this space. But I have some questions because you did it. Congratulations!
Thank
it was
you.
like this dream that you had. Well, so the dream was initially she came from Canada to be an actress. I like how I'm telling your whole story.
I love
letting
it.
You speak.
Everybody needs to feel that because she's doing better than I would do.
She came from Canada to be an actress, and then so my arm gets so tired, but Barbell helps with that. And then one thing I describe is like when I want to do something else, it's not aligned. Like I did law, and then I don't feel as connected to that, and so I want to do this kind of thing. It feels like this other part of me like died. This other part of me is dying or died in order for me to do these things. Does it feel like that actress part of you died?
That's an interesting point. It felt like 2 occurrences. It felt as though that had run its course, and then I fought the running of its course because we get ideas in our head about what life is supposed to look like. So that was happening on its own accord, and then as that was kind of going away, and I was looking to see who and what I wanted to be in the world, what was different, what else would I want to be doing then. It's almost a cliche. I had a history in fitness and dance, but that was not something that I planned on doing or spending my life doing and all my money doing and making. And then when I knew, I just knew. It was a process where the decision was pretty easy, but the process to get there took about probably 2 years or so. 2 or 3 years, yeah.
And then when you decided, what was that first decision? You were like, I'm gonna go start my own studio, or I'm gonna like rent a space for a year. Like, were you dipping your feet, or did you just dive in? Like, just tell us quickly, like how.
I'm a bit of a diver. First and foremost, I thought maybe I could find another studio that was doing, like that's kind of what we do. We're sort of in denial. Like I was looking around for a studio that would be doing this practice or this technique that I now created that we do in this space, and no one was doing it. So the first step was that thing where you're always told if you can't find it, then make it yourself, right? If it's not out there. So I kind of started by doing that for myself, and then it just became that voice that you can't stop, like where you just, there's a knowing or an understanding, there's an impetus that keeps telling you this is what you need to do. You need to open a studio. You need to open a studio and share this and make it yourself. And a lot of it was, so that decision was pretty concrete, but then a lot of the process to get to it was what I kind of say is like happy accidents. Like I had no history in business per se. I was an artist and I didn't have financial backing beyond like a credit card and a little bit of savings. And so every stage was like, I'm just gonna go to the bank and see if they'll give me a credit card, like a business credit card, and say I have a business. And I'm just gonna, and every stage I would just sort of try. I'm like, I'm just gonna call this woman for this space and see if she'll give me a lease. And then I went over and negotiated the lease, and I truly thought, as I was negotiating the lease, that she would look at my statements and say, oh, no, you're not.
For this space.
I thought there's no way. She's just gonna say no, and that would be great because it would be practice in lease negotiation. I thought this will be great. Obviously I'm not gonna get this space, but it'll be a great practice in lease negotiation. And then at the end of the meeting, she brought out paperwork to sign, and I was like, what? Like, I guess I've got a space. And from that moment, the moment I signed that paperwork, it was go time.
How did you even find this space?
Walking around.
Looking for a space.
Mm-hmm. I knew, I did go to a few other spaces just so I had some point of reference of like what rents would be in Los Angeles. I knew nothing. I didn't know what triple net was.
Were you terrified? Were you excited? Was there doubt?
I did always doubt. I still doubt. I was looking at it like it was almost just like an adventure. Like it seemed so out of the realm of my possibility that it all seemed like a practice in education, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna go like a kid playing, like, oh, I'm gonna see a for rent sign in a building I might like, and I'm gonna call them, and then I'm gonna walk around like I'm some fancy person that could actually rent this place, and I'm gonna learn terms, and I'm gonna learn prices, and I'm gonna learn things like that.
Hold up. This just is like blowing my mind, because that is actually such a good answer to the paralysis by analysis that so much of us suffer from, me especially, is like you have an idea, but before you implement the idea, you doubt so much that you don't take any steps, because those steps commit you to this thing that's so big and significant, and you don't want to commit to that. But you're just saying, I just played with it like a kid, like doing finger painting. They're not like, oh my God, should I put my hand in the yellow? Or like, then what's gonna happen? Like, how will I was thinking red at some point. Will I wash my hands after this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these kids aren't stressed out about how to do the finger painting. They're just literally putting their hands in paint and then on paper, and then that's it. But we grow up and we don't do that anymore.
It's true.
We don't finger paint. We don't we used to do feet painting. Like we used to put our feet in paint and then on like that big paper.
Yeah.
We don't. When are we ever doing that? This is Bourbon making his
entrance.
His
debut.
Feature debut.
Yeah.
So that makes actually so much sense why and how you were able to get over those major hurdles of starting, because you just played with it, and that makes it more fun and less daunting. And that is actually, you guys, like, that is the answer. Like, play with it. If you have an idea that you want to do, just like go play. Like, she was just looking at spaces and shopping, and like that's almost like, were you wearing like a fur coat when you were doing this?
No, but I should have. I wish I had. I wish I had like a
faux fur coat, like jewels,
or something. Yeah,
you know, like no. Okay, and then you were saying how you started the class, and that first class had 6 people in it.
Yeah.
What were you feeling on that night of the first class?
Everything seemed so out of reach, maybe because everything seemed so amazing that I just was, when I opened the doors, I was surprised that anybody walked in the door, because I didn't have any money to do marketing or anything.
So that's gratitude.
Right, I just put my head down and then opened the door and like called a couple of my dearest friends, like, please can you come just so I can teach this to somebody? And then actually people I didn't know showed up. It was really cool, and then people just kept showing up. So I felt I had no expectation. I just felt like, oh my gosh, if someone can come, if someone comes in, it was a good day every time someone walked in, and every day someone walked in.
another aha moment. It's like the first step is like just play with it, just explore, don't be afraid, like go get your feet wet. The second step is I forget already.
No expectation.
Gratitude, no expectations. And then she was like grateful for everyone who came. Because had you been like, oh, all this work and only 6 people are here,
yeah, it's true.
You know,
actually.
you would have been discouraged right away.
You know what else? I would get really kind of down on myself because I didn't. People would give me a lot of advice. Smart people who had business education would give me advice. You have to do a business plan, which is very good advice, by the way. Like, you need to do a cost analysis breakdown. You need to have goals and meet these goals and quarterly goals and stuff like that. And that was so mind blowing to me, and I was so exhausted just trying to like open a business, but I'd never done it before. That I never got to that. I would always find a way to avoid it. But I think in the beginning, what was kind of cool about that is that removed expectation. I didn't know if I was making money or not money, if there were 6 or 12. I didn't know how many people I had to have in the room to sustain at the point.
So one thing that happens to me, it's like I want to do a podcast or I want to do these videos, and it's like, oh, how am I going to monetize it? What's the platform I'm going to use, and what media host? And then I get caught up, and like 6 months passes, and I'm still debating like what media host. My friends are literally like, you're a lawyer. Like, can you not figure out how to record people's voices? Like, this can't be complicated. You know what I mean? It's like when we had less resources, like I was more resourceful.
Yes.
And now it's like there's so many resources and so many ways to do something.
Yes.
That I think I feel so overwhelmed that I'm like, oh, I'm not tech savvy. And you're saying, people were saying to you, this is the business way to do it. This is the business plan. Do it this way. And you were like, I don't know how to do that. I'm just going to do it the way I know how. And it still worked for you.
Basically it was, I know how to work really hard. I know I really believed in what I was making, and I knew that something was calling to me to do it, so I kept my focus there. And then at some point I did have to evolve. It is a business, right? So you have to evolve and you have to learn and grow, and you do have to have sales goals and things like that.
Well, now you have like a team, you have a manager, you have like a marketing plan, like there's like different like things that go into it, but all the blood, sweat, and tears that it took you to get to this point to be able to even do all this was just your heart and your faith. And then did you ever think, I don't know if I want to commit to this one thing, because you had other interests like acting, like you're a singer, beautiful singer, she plays the guitar and she sings, and
take you
she's like she's an actual angel. I know I'm your number one fan. Like people who don't know you actually or never came to your class but just are friends with me, they'll be like, oh, is it Marnie's class? Or, oh, did Marnie tell you that? Like people just know it Marnie as like a character like in my life. She plays like a role.
This is more about how amazing you are than
I'm thinking of like moving to the West Side. I like honestly can tell you I factor in like my Marnie time and like my missing my Marnie classes if I move to the West Side. Like I'm not even exaggerating that. Like I'll be looking at apartments on the West Side and I'm like, can I leave? Can I leave Barba? I just want to be near the beach. I just want to start enjoying my life, like enjoying my days. Because I spent so much time like doing this to do the next thing. Oh, I'll go to college to go to law school, and then go to law school to go to work, and then I'll go to law school in another country to do another. And then I'm just like, wait, how much law school do I need to do to never do it again? And then the job, ironically, like I thought I was going to go to law school, and then the job was not going to be similar to this work I was doing in school. I don't know. I was just like waiting for this school to be over so I would never have to do this work again. And now I have like my own clients and cases, and I'll literally be writing the same stuff I was doing in law school. I'm like, this sucks. This is why we were trained in this. Like this is why
because this is the work
that I was trained in. And I'm like, now I realize why we were learning how to argue this way. I don't want to do this forever. Like I can't do this. Like I can't. So I'm just trying to shift my whole space to like enjoying. Today you said like, oh, we put the weights away during class, and that's like a moment to like enjoy the mundane and like be present. And there's so much like knowledge behind that and like wisdom behind that. It's like just enjoying the moment, because it's like the more experience I have on this planet, I just realize like this is it. There's no like other moment. And I learned so much like during this class that like parallels my life. Like you said something recently in class, you were like, this is the practice. Like when you're doing movements in class, you're practicing the same that you would be practicing for life. And so anything we're doing in life that we want to get better at, you practice the same way you do in class, and you're not judging those first efforts. It's just practice to get better. So today I was like, Marnie, can I just film you for 1 minute? It's been 15 minutes, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. And also, like, I've been asking her, like, oh, come on this podcast for this future day where I'll set it up and we'll wear cute outfits and we'll sit and I'll have like a whole film crew come. And I'm just like holding my phone. This is all I ever wanted to do. Was to ask you these questions so I can inspire people who want to start a business, who want to take a risk, who want to do the next thing. And my question was, getting back to it, is, do you feel like you let go of the acting and the singing, and were you afraid to like narrow in on this one thing? Because that took so much time and focus, and to be successful at anything you have to focus. Putting all your focus on this one thing, was that scary, and how did you commit to that?
It was two separate things. As I said earlier, letting go of that idea of what I was supposed to be or what life was supposed to look like, meaning I was going to come to LA and I was going to be an actor and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of a tried and true story.
You see why, by the way. Beautiful face. Okay.
Letting go of that was its own thing. And when I had to sort of make that space before I could even hear, for lack of a less cheesy way of saying it, what I truly wanted to do, what truly
your
made
calling.
me feel. My calling. I said this, I've explained it to it like this before. I feel like I'm like this experience was like a rom-com where I was the girl who had like the best friend, and you guys like grew up together, and he like always loved the girl, and the girl would always go out and like date these jerks and then come back and like cry on the guy's shoulder, and the guy would just be like a good friend the whole time, you know, and we'd watch it and be like, don't you know he loves you, he's right there, you guys are meant to be together. And then the girl like had to go through all of her stuff, and then one day she like comes in crying and looks up and she realizes like, you were there all the time, and they're together forever. I'm like, yes, you were together forever. That's what I kind of feel like this experience was for me. I was
like
always
Bar was the friend.
Yeah, the Bar was the friend, and it was
that
always
then became like a
dabbling in it.
successful doctor, and you were like,
I was like,
maybe maybe you're not so dorky.
I had to like go out and like have these experiences that like
be an actress
Yeah.
and sing and be on. She was on TV shows, you guys. This isn't like she was like a working actress. This isn't like she came and was like, oh, you know, like I think that anything you had chosen, you would have been able to go to the end with, and you put your focus on this. I guess I'm just scared to do that because I'm afraid of focusing on one thing, and what if that doesn't turn out how I thought, and then I put all my energy into that thing.
You can move. So that's the thing. Paralysis is the only thing that's death. Movement is always you can always adapt when you're in movement, right? So, and that's not the kind of movement. It's not busyness movement. That's a different thing. That's distraction. Because silence and pause. I always love that saying. There is no rhythm without pause. Pause is important. It's integral. Cleaning out the closet, sitting in space, kind of getting uncomfortable. That's really important. But this idea of figuring it out before you can move, it doesn't happen. Movement begets movement. So like if you try something and you truly commit it, it is going to teach you whatever you need to bridge you to that next thing, right? You'll learn from it. And however, I think it's more, how do you get into motion? So for me, I had to play, but then I had to I kind of just had to sign the lease, and then once I put myself in a position where it wasn't negative, but I didn't have a choice. I signed a lease. I mean, I guess I had a choice. I had a choice to just throw away a bunch of money and go into a legal dispute over a lease. Like, I guess I had a choice, but like, that's not what I wanted to do. I gave myself a deadline. It was not an option to not do this. And I kind of always knew, like, if this doesn't work out, I knew I had to try it, and I'll learn a lesson that'll bring me to where I really should be anyway.
Let's say you were over this. I know that's not true, but let's say you were. Could you leave this behind? Wouldn't you have lost all this time in acting? Like, you couldn't just go be an actress now, or wouldn't you have lost time in singing? Like, how would you have this experience and then also go do the other thing? How do you not consider it a waste of time?
Because I resolved those. I don't want those anyway. I think that was
what
my
if you're
my
not?
experience.
What if someone's not sure and they're starting out, but they think they're getting callings? You know,
Oh,
that's what I
think-
mean. It's like,
yeah,
how do you,
I
the
think-
5 years you're spending toward this one thing, how do you just focus and commit to it anyway, even if you're not sure?
Well, you don't always have to be all or nothing. I chose to be all or nothing because that was where I was at, and that's what I needed for my experience. But there's plenty of ways to. I mean, we're such a webbed world now, right? We have more technology, which also weighs us down, but it gives us some freedom. We have sort of more freedom to be able to be multifunctional, right? So we can be doing this right now. We didn't need to hire, I mean, the technology of having a camera on your arm right now, like just there because we wanted it there. That wasn't there 10 years ago.
Right.
Right, that wasn't there 10 years ago.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it wasn't there at all 15 years ago. So thinking about how we have this ability, especially when it comes to artistic endeavors or things that we're creating ourselves, then we can do them, we can give ourselves permission to do them at whatever capacity we can do them. Meaning, you can decide that you have to have a perfect podcast that is edited in a certain way and that is however, whatever you want to look, whatever it looks like to you, which is going to require time and money and things like that. Or you can just decide that the message is what's important and just get it out there however you can, which is what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And you're doing that right now.
Well, I'm doing it now because I'm fighting that, like, my nature, which is like, it has to be perfect. It has to look perfect. And and really it's because I guess I don't want to look stupid. And I don't want to be vulnerable, and I don't want to make mistakes, and I want it to be perfect on the first thing, but like, that just isn't real. The only time I've ever had success in anything is when I've just, like when I went to Iran, I was just like, I'm going to go to Iran because I think there are stories there, and I'm just going to go travel and talk to people. People were like, you're going to get killed. Like, you're going to get murdered in Iran. That's not safe. It's dangerous. I was like, I don't think so. We'll find out.
Then you know what it feels like.
And then I just went.
Then you know what it feels like. And do you regret it?
No.
At all?
At all. Or anything I've ever done. I was just talking about this where I was like, oh, I went to Spain to like have fun when I was in college. And I didn't speak Spanish, thinking like everyone speaks English everywhere in the world, like totally ignorant,
Cool.
like American.
Cool. Yeah.
Show up in the south of Spain, like not speaking Spanish. Nobody spoke English. I cried every day. I gained like 30 pounds. It was like the worst ever, but I learned Spanish because you know me, I have to talk. I couldn't talk. So I had to learn Spanish to talk. So I learned Spanish, and then I came back here, I did more Spanish at UCLA, and then I went back to Spain and did a year of college there. And then I learned Spanish fluently, and then now I speak Spanish with my clients. It's like part of my life.
You just answered all your own questions, you crazy, you're the guru.
But then I come and I'm like, oh, I want to make these videos. This doesn't make sense to me because, you know, I'm someone who, like, I went to law school, or I had those other side experiences, but all under the, like, umbrella of, like, I'm a professional. It's like, this isn't a real thing. How do I make this real?
Why isn't it a real thing?
How do I support myself financially making these videos?
But that has nothing to do with the quality of production at this point.
So you're just saying, just do the thing anyway,
And learn from it and refine it and look at it objectively. Say, what did I like about this? What do I not like about this? Let me try something different this time. What did I like about this? What did I not like about this?
This is the play.
Let's try something different this time, right? You know, so you just keep moving incrementally forward. It's like how we learn to walk, right? First we understand we have limbs, and then we get ourselves up on just the legs, and then we start wobbling and walking and falling. And then, right, we allow humans to have that developmental time, and that's part of it. They're figuring it out. Your brain and body starts to figure it out. But now, once we get to a certain level of adulthood, I don't know what it is in us that doesn't ever let us have process anymore. Like, the process is a part of it. Failure is a part of it. You don't learn without that. And I have to remind myself of that all the time. And I literally will go, I'll have a meeting or a conversation, or I'll do an event, something that's new for me, or make a business decision, something, and I'll like be in the mirror and having like a panic attack, and then just think, okay, cool, okay, what was good, like what was okay about that? And even if it was nothing, like that was terrible, you threw up on yourself and you just like, you didn't speak, like that was a disaster. Be like, okay, cool, you got in the room, right? Like you gotta find like one thing, like, cool, you didn't even think you were gonna get in the room, you got in the room, so maybe next time, it'll be a win if you don't throw up on yourself. Like, you can actually look at it that extreme.
You give yourself breaks.
Yeah.
So you're not a perfectionist because like you have
No,
a
I'm a
perfect
hard-
body. I
No,
feel like
shut up.
you're, but
I
also
don't.
like yeah, and you have your method is about. I mean, it's not about perfection, but it comes from ballet, which is all about like really strict perfection, right? And like, it's got roots in like hitting the, like, being on the mark.
Yeah, there's certain things I don't
So
like
you
about
must,
ballet.
you're a disciplined person,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying, and you must have some perfectionistic qualities. How do you balance that with starting a new business, which is, as you're describing, is just throwing up on yourself?
Right. I think what I just said, I've had to learn to be okay with messing up. And that has to be that's sort of, there's nothing more complex than that. Like I somehow have to be okay with messing up, and not just like it's okay, but like it's okay, that's okay, it's part of it, you fell down, no big deal. I mean, that's or a big deal, maybe you really fucked up, like maybe you fell down and it was terrible. Okay, so that's a big deal. But it just has to go beyond that. It can't be like get under the covers until it goes away. You know, it has to, or don't even try because that might happen.
That sounds like the definition of self-care. Like we think self-care is like bubble baths and like,
Right,
you know what I mean? Like mani-pedis, you know? And it's like just, that is actually self-care. Like if you saw a child fall, you would like rush to pick them up and like.
I say that all the time. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Like if you had a child, like we will sometimes be like a little bit kind to ourselves. Like we'll let ourselves try like a couple times, you know, but like the third time we're like, nope, you're terrible, you're stupid, you tried twice, I give you 2 shots, you're out. And can you imagine if you did that to a kid? Like you're like, all right,
yeah,
you got
those finger paintings.
You felt
suck.
no,
Yeah.
actually, you know, I thought you were gonna get better, and it's been a week, and you're still not walking. So, you know, F it, don't even try anymore. I'm just gonna get you a baby wheelchair. Like you could, none of us would walk.
I'm embarrassed, like, even as I sit here filming this, like, I'm embarrassed. I think, like, Danny thinks I look stupid. Like, I'm so in my head about what is even the point of doing this that then I don't do this. It's the first time, it's been 2 years that I think I've said, like, Marnie, I definitely want to schedule you on the calendar. And this is the first time that I had enough guts to just be like, sit and talk to me right now. Let me just get it.
Yeah.
And thank you. So you made the space for me. So would you do it all over again?
Uh-huh.
And all the things you already described, it's like you wouldn't have learned all these lessons like until you went through it, right? Because it's like, I know you had so many like unexpecteds happen here. At one point you were like running the whole place by yourself, teaching, like Marnie would be teaching every class. Like I would come in like every hour that there was class, Marnie was like teaching. I was like, are you tired? Like, or I know things have happened, like I can edit this out if you don't want me to say it, but like, you know, you've had like the laundry breakdown or like plumbing issues and like things where you're
flood
just like,
where the entire studio
it was like
flooded.
Flooded from the, was it from the plumbing?
Something in an old building. It just
But I
flooded,
remember
yeah.
one time coming in and there were like all new towels and I was like, Marnie, no, are these new towels? Like, is something wrong? She's like, oh yeah, the laundry's not working, so I bought all new towels. And I was like,
I didn't have time to go to the laundromat.
What is going on? Like, ask for help, you know? And it's like, I remember these moments of like you doing everything on your own. And I remember you saying like, oh, I guess I don't have that. I don't feel like I can ask because I don't have that community yet. And I remember feeling like, oh, okay, I need to step up because
You did step
if
up.
Marnie,
step up.
I love you. And I felt like if Marnie feels like if this is like my community where I come and get strength and Marnie doesn't feel yet like that same support, and this was like years ago, but yeah, and it's totally shifted and now I get to see you and you have like people photographing the class today and you're doing like all kinds of partnerships with like you had a class at Outdoor Voices yesterday and you have like this is your birthday party class and like all these girls come and they're excited and everyone's posting it on their Instagrams and she's got a sign outside that's like be a badass with a good ass and like you look like effing amazing. Like she has like, and everyone's all about it. And people come to do these like partnerships, like these girl influencers come and I'm always like, oh, the influencers like joking, but then they actually come and then they're like, love it so much that they become converts
Yeah.
and they become like real clients here.
Yeah.
So you made it to the other side. What is like, you've given us so much beautiful advice. Is there anything you want to like leave us on? You're so beautiful. I love you guys. If you can please come to this space, do yourself a favor. It's brought me so much peace every time I'm in class. Today, I had like an aha. I finished the class, I lay down, and I was like, oh, I was like, all I want to do is travel the world. And I laid down and I just thought, how could, I'd been thinking like, I just want to travel the world. I want to travel the world. How can I do that? And I laid down and I thought, oh, I'm an immigration lawyer. I can do that from anywhere. I could go anywhere in the world and help people come to America. Like I actually, this like came to my mind and I was like, I gotta write this down. I gotta write this down. Like ideas come to me. Like we do all this work in class that like gets rid of all this garbage. And as soon as I laid down, I was just like, oh, I could just bring people to America and like make some money doing that, which would allow me.
Don't take those moments for granted. That's the part. Don't think that that's just, a thought that I had when it comes to you in that kind of way, when you're in a space where your body and mind is connected, where you've worked through a bunch of that garbage, where you've quieted all those voices. When you quiet the noise and something breaks through the noise, you have to honor that. You have to hear it. That's why I opened the studio. When you asked why, and it was like, oh, the epiphany and the aha, we have all the words for it, right? Epiphany, aha moment, my purpose, and those aren't, I'm not diminishing those. Those are just like all the different ways people choose to say it, right? God spoke to me, whatever everyone's own personal belief is. But the bottom line is when that comes, that needs to be honored. That's what I think. I think we actually have a responsibility, not to get like crazy, but I actually think we have a responsibility when it comes like that voice that you just heard, to honor it. Doesn't mean tomorrow you have to pack your whole apartment.
No, it's true though.
That's telling you
I think I heard
something.
something that was like, when you hear these whispers or you see things or you hear things, it's like you can't ignore it in the same way that you wouldn't ignore, like if you just had a dream and in the dream you saw things, like while you were sleeping you have a dream and you saw all these things, you wouldn't wake up and be like, that wasn't real. You wouldn't like, it happened in your dream and there are messages in that dream, and you would wake up and put weight on those messages. And in the same way that you get this message, like what you're saying in those quiet moments, I honestly have one of those moments every single time I have this class with Marnie and the other instructors too, but absolutely at the end of Marnie's class, without doubt, something clicks. Whatever that is, it might be like, oh, practice the videos. It might be like, oh, don't be hard on yourself. It might be like, be kind. Don't judge the girl in front of me. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I used to judge. I used to like never have injuries. I used to judge girls. I used to be like, remember how I was like a badass push-upper? I would just like be on my toes doing push-ups like all the time. And if the person next to me was like on their knees, I'd be like, I'm on my toes over here, for sure. I was 100%. And one time, Carla, who's now my friend, she was like, oh yeah, you're definitely like competitive in class. I was like, me? Competitive? I'm not like, as a human, I am, but not in a bad way, but I didn't think of myself like that. And then, man, I started getting injured and I would just be like, oh, if I saw someone like resting, I'd be like, you take your time, you know, like you relax, like you do, you know, and I understood and I had compassion. And so I've just learned so much from this class and everything. And yeah, I wanted to just say thank you.
Thanks, Gilda.
Thank you. And happy birthday to you and this space.
You.
And I'm so proud of you. I feel like watching you grow in this space, and every time I come to this space and have those aha moments, on top of it, I'm like, the space itself and the story behind it and Marnie behind it is just, proof is in the pudding of like, you can make your dreams come true. It's like every time I come to class, I have a spiritual awakening, an aha moment, some kind of revelation. And the space itself that I'm in was cultivated from a dream that you had, that you created, that you brought into reality, that is now spreading that out throughout so many women in LA and hopefully soon in the world.
Hopefully. Thank you, Gilda.
Congratulations.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday. Wow,
Thanks.
so 34 minutes. This was like a full episode. This was 1 minute, thank you. I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel.
Yes, you are.
It's the show that I always ever wanted to make.
You guys, we just did it.
This was like my dream for the last 2 years.
Oh,
you don't even
seriously?
need a calendar date.
Done.
Thank you.
Aw.
I love you. Thank you.